10,000 fearless on the move. Let's go.
Deep in the delta where the willows grow, in the soil stained by the blood of my ancestors. Punch bowl voices call out to my soul for justice. The wicked will reap what they've sown. Spirit of Aziz is back on the rise. Soldiers in the delta kept it alive. Time to stand up, take our place in the sun. Understand the time and what must be done.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. This is it. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip.
Gotta make a move and take control. Have something we can call our own. So shine your light, help the people see that now is the time for us to be free. And if you waiting on the pie in the sky, you better wake up fast. They told you a lie, cause big fields await the wide awake man. Elijah's got the master.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. Injustice we've had enough. All of our divisions we're breaking up. Destiny has been calling us. The spirit of the Most High is guiding us.
See, the time is now. What you waiting on? Quit shooting your brothers. Put your gun down. Come on. They got a cage waiting for you if you keep that up. Early graves coming to you. From that, can't raise you up. Now, Sister Ida B and Fannie Lou, check them out and you'll know what to do. But if you really want your enemy to be alarmed, read the final call. Follow Farrakhan.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. In Mississippi. Mississippi. 10,000 fearless on the move.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you and welcome to the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. I am your brother, friend, and host, Abdul Shaheed Muhammad. We're back once again, dear family, and we are certainly hopeful that what we share tonight will be informative and serve as a measure of guidance in the time of great trouble. Please allow me to begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness to the oneness of God, the oneness of his prophets, and the oneness of the messages that were revealed through them to the whole of humanity. Please allow us to greet you with the greeting words of peace in the Semitic language of all of the prophets of Assalamu alaikum. To those that may not, I doubt if there are, but it just may be some that are listening who may not be familiar with those words. Assalamu alaikum, they simply means may peace be unto you. Brothers and sisters, we have a program set for you tonight, but I have to inform you on the front end, unfortunately, our guest that was scheduled to be with us had some things to come up. They send their sincere apologies, and we will reschedule them for another episode. But we're certainly going to press forward and shout out to SOS under Brother Teddy Cobb and Brother Steve Martin. Shout out to the both of you, dear brothers. Thank you all for communicating with us. And we are prayerful that the event, the balloon release that our brother is having for his mother goes well and successful. and that everyone remains safe and get to their destination as they left or return home to their destinations as they left home in one piece and well and in good health. So, brothers and sisters, let's move quickly. We want to get right into tonight's program. Tonight, we will be discussing It's On Us Now. That's just the short or the long and the short of it. It's on us now. What do you mean it's on us? It's on us to make our communities safe and decent places to live. It's on us to take responsibility what's happening or responsibility for what's happening in our communities. And there's a lot of good things that are happening, but the bad things are reported in such a way that it overshadows a lot of the good that's going on. So I don't want to come on with a gloom and doom posture here now. Although there's a lot of trouble in the world, brothers and sisters, we can't escape the fact that the violence we see, the loss of life that we see is really at unprecedented levels. But there are good things going on. But if we don't address the bad, it's kind of like not addressing an illness that is either terminal or potentially terminal if it is left or goes unchecked. So tonight we want to shine the spotlight on that. But before we get to our subject tonight, we will also have the farm report. I'm expecting to hear from our brother William for the farm report for tonight. And I'm also expecting to hear from our sister Lynchelle X with the health segment. We always want to bring you good information and that which will aid in making, our lives a little bit better. Just trying to do our little part on our little humble podcast. But as always, brothers and sisters, I like to begin with our axioms to undergird our conversation because, of course, as of late, if you're logged on to Podbean with a user ID and password, which is free, you will see 6 circles that allow you to call in. And when I open the lines, please feel free, which I'll have to open them to let my sister Lynchelle in momentarily. But you will see that there are 6 circles, or really it's 10 circles now. I'm sorry, it's 10, whereby you can call in and comment and share your thoughts on tonight's subject. So let me get to our axioms that we always share with you to undergird our conversations. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan always reminds us when he told us, quote, "He who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes for you the circumference of your activity," end quote. That's self-exclamatory. And it's very, very important to understand that. Another one that he gives us is the definition of a slave that fits the time. When he told us, quote, "A slave is one whose power and authority is ruled over by another and whose sphere of freedom is limited according to the wishes of his master," end quote. And that, too, is something that is very, very important that we understand. And the third one that I'd like to give us tonight is from our brother Carter G. Woodson. No, I'm sorry. This one is from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as well. I'm so used to giving the one for Carter G. But this is the one that I think is really appropriate for the time because we're seeing a lot of people get caught up and fall and get in trouble and get caught up in controversy. And I'm thinking about, as they affectionately call our brother Uncle Shay Shay, he's dealing with now. Of course, that's not going to be part of our program, but he did come to mind because I've heard some things and seen some things as I scanned the news preparing for this program where our brothers he's in a little difficulty. I don't know all of the details of it, but suffice it to say, we're seeing people get caught up and they're falling. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to us, quote, "When you see men fall, don't laugh, learn. Learn because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation, nor from the weakness that will cause us to stumble and fall. When you laugh at somebody else's fall, white or black, rich or poor, your enemy or your friend, you're laughing and opening a way for your own demise when you do that. Because to laugh and not learn, to make a mockery and not to understand is to make the same mistake yourself." So those are the axioms that we want to open up with tonight, dear brothers and sisters. And we're going to do as we do now, we always want to break away and let you know about those who support us. So we'll be right back after these commercial messages. Please stand by.
Shake's Famous Seasonings. Flavors for every occasion. Want to add a touch of authentic flavor to any dish? Searching for a unique range of seasonings that always put great taste on the menu? Welcome to Shake's Famous Seasonings. Whether you're a professional chef, passionate home cook, or a complete beginner in the kitchen, taste and flavor should always be on the menu. It's why Master Chef Rashid Muhammad has combined more than 30 years in the kitchen with a passion for mouth-watering flavors to create a range of seasonings unlike any other. Always gluten-free, so you can enjoy great taste exactly how nature intended. Versatile flavors that work with fresh fish, chicken, or vegetables from the very first bite. Authentic cooking experience that adds something special to any occasion. Versatile seasonings that are perfect for baking, frying, grilling, and plenty of tasting. Ready for real, authentic flavor? When it's time to see just how delicious seasoned foods can be, why wait? With the click of a button, you can have 30 years of passion for food sent direct to your door. Just what you need to add flavors to every occasion and create meals that you'll always want to eat twice.
Place your order at sfseasonings.com. That's sfseasonings.com.
Taste the difference. Taste Supreme. Enjoy our 100% natural Supreme spring water with natural calcium and magnesium, but zero fluoride and zero chloride. Our bottles are BPA free. Order yours today. Call us at 800-573-8033. That's 800-573-8033. Or visit us online at www.supremespringwater.com. Live supreme. Be supreme. Drink supreme. Supreme Spring Water. 801 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
What's your source for truth in news reports?
Justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Where do you turn for non-corporate driven news that's fair and balanced?
No shoot. No shoot.
Subscribe to the Final Call News, your #1 free and independent news source that delivers hard-hitting national and international news coverage of today's political, economic, and social issues. To subscribe to local home delivery, call us at area code 662-252-8999. That's 662-252-8999. Visit our website at www.finalcall.com.
The Urban Indulgence Bath and Body Boutique. At Urban Indulgence, we pride ourselves on offering quality, effective skincare. Handcrafted with plant-based, skin-loving ingredients, our soaps and body butters will give you luxurious lather and ultimate moisture. Experience The Urban Indulgence at 3314 Poplar Avenue in Memphis, 3 blocks west of Poplar Plaza, or shop with us online at theurbanindulgence.com. theurbanindulgence.com.
Yes, and we are back live with the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. Once again, I am your brother, friend, and host, Abdul Shaheed Muhammad. And we are ready to bring to you our segments. We first want to start with our Brother William Muhammad with the Farm Report, and he should be on. Assalamu alaikum, Brother William. Uh-oh. I don't hear him. Are you there, Brother William? Hold on a second.
Sir, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, hold on. Okay, I got some stuff going on here, brother, so I'm going to bring you through this way. How about that? Go right ahead, my brother.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Loud and clear. Go right ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Going to start with our national report. On our national farm in Brownwood, Georgia, Muhammad Farms. Dr. Risley, said the wheat is looking pretty good. So it looks like so far it's going to be a pretty nice harvest of wheat for this year. Also with the watermelons, he hadn't been posting anything about the watermelons on Facebook. He said because what's been going on is that his posts are not actually being allowed. Some of his posts are not being allowed on social media to show what's going on with that. Yes, sir. So we're putting the word of mouth out by phone, emails, and things of that nature. But we got an event coming up next month, May the 17th and May the 24th on Saturday, 2025. Next month, we have our annual weed pulling contest. As you know, we don't spray pesticides, no herbicides on the crops out there at Muhammad Farm. So, we have to either chop it with a hoe or pull the weeds by hand.
Yes, sir.
So that's going to be, yes, sir. So that event is coming up. Also, with our state farm, everything was looking pretty good. Got the broccoli, the cabbage, the beets, the tomatoes, the onions, the butternut squash, the yellow squash, and zucchini. There's a few other things that are planted. They're going to put down some more peppers. So everything was looking pretty good. I just got off the phone with the brothers on our state project, and we're actually trying to wait until after the rain passes over and the ground clears up a little bit so we can get back out there and do some more planting. And lastly, our local agriculture project here in Holly Springs, I managed to get out there last Sunday and plant some watermelons, and I planted some carrots. I tilled up a few rows. So, inshallah, this coming Sunday, we're going to try to get back out there and plant some more vegetables, probably some broccoli, some cabbage, some squash, and zucchini, and possibly green beans. I'm contemplating the okra because they have to, once they grow, they have to be picked every 2 days. So it's going to be kind of hard to get there every 2 days to pick those. So we may do a row or so of those.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And I think we're going to try to put some tomatoes out as well. Yes, sir.
Well, praise be to Allah. Brother, thank you. But that sounds so very good. We certainly appreciate you, Brother William, and the work that you do, brother, the steadfastness you have with the agricultural project that we have working locally. This brother is our student in the Ministry of Agriculture. And I tell you, Brother William, I know it's like sometimes, man, it seems like you're the only one on the battlefield. But know that there are other lone soldiers. We like reconnaissance men, brother. You have to be self-motivated. You have to have a strong connection to Almighty God, brother, to continue. So the fact that you are still on the grind, man, tells me that you got a strong connection with your Lord, brother. So, Brother William, thank you so much. Is there anything else, brother, you want to leave us with?
That's going to be it for right now. Oh, as a matter of fact, I got to contact the black farmer, Brother Tony Jones. I got something to work out with him.
Yes.
On some possible vegetables, yes, sir, for harvest. And I'll keep you all in the loop on that as well.
That's Chulahoma's garden. I'm going to have to give you his number, Brother Tony and his wife. I'm pretty sure they're on the grind up there in Chulahoma and doing what they do. So, brother, once again, thank you, brothers and sisters. That was our brother William Muhammad with the Farm Report. We certainly thank our brother for what he does. And inshallah, we will hear from him once again on the next program. Thank you, Brother William. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Yes, yes. Wonderful. We certainly appreciate our brother for taking time out of his schedule to give us an update on what's going on. Next, we have our sister Lynchelle X up. She's going to give us the health segment. So let's get her unmuted and see what she got going on. Sister Lynchelle, are you there? You have to unmute yourself. There she is.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, family. How are
Wa
y'all doing
alaikum
tonight?
salam, man. Well, what can we do tonight to make our life a little bit better by tending to our health?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about obesity because in our Ministry of Health Telegram, I see a lot of brothers and sisters they're dropping nuggets in there about it, which pretty much kind of went along with us adhering and obeying the instructions in our book 1 and 2 of How to Eat to Live. There was an article that I came across that was very interesting to me, and the article was from the minister. And let me get that pulled up real quick. Bear with me just a second.
Yeah, I know it's coming.
Yes, sir. Let's see. Okay.
Yes, and brother,
Okay.
there we are. There we go.
The article, it was I think it was July 14th, 2024, final call. This article was the title of it was The War on Obesity Fat by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He said, I am trying with the help of Allah God and a few persons working with me to produce a healthy community of strong, able bodied men, women, and children who are willing to shoulder the responsibility of self reliance, self determination, and self independence. The American food industry has gone a long way in destroying the health and well being of the American people, but by its misuse of knowledge of chemistry. In addition of the coloring to change the appearance of food, preservatives to lengthen shelf life, injection of hormones into the livestock and produce to produce speedy growth and fatty animal. And the sum of this profit-seeking actions brings in its wake of unwanted growth of cancer, health, heart disease, and both of which have increased more than 250% since the beginning of the century and are the leading causes of death in this country.
Wow.
With that being said, I actually had to do a presentation about a month ago, and my presentation was preventing childhood obesity because during my research, it said that children that are obese in their childhood are more likely to be obese in their adulthood. And the CDC says that they didn't have any updated information, but they had in the year of 2017 and 2018, about in 1 in 5 school age children were affected by obesity. When they say 1 in 5 school age children, you have to think about it. It's a lot of children on this planet. So when you think about that and you break it down into percentages, like 6 to 11-year-olds, there was 20.3%. From 12 to
Whoa.
19 years old, there's 20 to 21.2%.
Woo.
And the unfortunate part, the obesity among 2 to 19 years old between Hispanic, us, white children, and Asian children, we rank second with 24.2 for our Black children that are affected by obesity. Now, it's very important for us to make sure that we adhere, especially teaching our children from a young age so they can keep that in their adulthood on how to eat to live properly, because obesity is preventive. There are a lot of preventative measures that we can do. And if people have noticed in the USA Today news, I think it's RJK Jr. He's
Yes, sir.
actually he's the health secretary.
Yes, ma'am.
He actually is trying to eliminate 8 dyes that are in our food over here.
Yes.
So if they're working on that, think about the effect that it has in the past,
Wow.
because they know the research, but now things are getting to where they are. Spotlights and magnifying glasses are being put on them. They have to start adhering to the health of the people.
Yes, ma'am.
So us having the blessed opportunity to have the information that we have and the things that we are taught, we can do for ourselves and not wait for them to do something that should have been done years ago.
That's right, sister.
We can continue to do for ourselves, get in our own gardens, raise our own food, and feed our children properly and teach them that 3 meals a day is not a traditional custom. That's something that they created.
That's right.
You don't have to have 3 meals a day to survive. Your body is not built for that.
Mm.
So I wanted to touch on that a little bit. I'm going to bring more information about it because when I was reading the information, it was disheartening to see that the adults that I take care of in the section that I work in the healthcare field as a nurse, they're obese. They could be they're 5'2" and 345 pounds.
Woo.
And when I look at the statistic of that, that 1 in 5 children are affected, my mind goes back to, were you like this as a child? What happened? What could we have done to prevent it? So, brothers and sisters, I would definitely check your pantry. You don't have to necessarily calorie count. If you're eating healthy food out of your garden, you already know it's ready for you. You have to probably calorie count when you buy from the stores, because unfortunately there are a lot of empty calorie foods, not just in the inside of the grocery store, because it's always healthier to shop on the outskirts of the grocery store. But even the produce that they provide for us there have empty calories because of how they were created. So I would encourage everybody to continue to be abreast of the information that is provided for us, to continue to do your own research, and to continue to work as hard as you can to do what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, that he taught to the Honorable Ms. Louis Farrakhan, is that we do for self. So when we do for self and we have the knowledge that we have, we can't go wrong. This is Lynn Shell with the health segment. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Our sister did a wonderful job. That was very, very informative. Sister Lynchelle, when you talked about the dyes that JFK, Robert F. K. Jr. is attempting to have removed, those dyes, as I understand it, are banned in most European countries. They're not even allowed to, and there are a lot of ingredients that American companies and food producers and restaurants, particularly the fast food restaurants, are allowed to use as ingredients that are banned. That mean the McDonald's in some of these countries are not allowed to use the ingredients that they use in the McDonald's here in America. So, and it brought to mind a documentary where a gentleman did a social experiment entitled, the documentary is called Fat, Sick, and Almost Dead, where he fed on food exclusively from McDonald's, if I recall it correctly. And he monitored his health, and his health suffered an acute decline. I mean, serious decline in his man's health. So, dear sister, thank you once again, and we applaud you. Inshallah, we'll hear from you on the next episode. We greet you, dear sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
That was our sister Lynchelle X for the health segment. And I got to tell you, family, I mean, when she started talking about, when she started, first of all, I was all ears. And when she said she was going to an article from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I really got attentive. And that is because, brothers and sisters, we have to have our own sources of information. And to the degree that we don't, we are left at the mercy of a media machine that has clearly demonstrated over the generations that they simply do not report in such a way that it's to the benefit of us. It's corporate driven media. So we know for a fact, and what we're about to segue to will demonstrate that fact, that a lot of their reporting is slanted, and it's not just good for us. We need a source that gives us greater clarity, greater transparency, that we can trust. And this is what makes the Final Call newspaper so very, very important. It is not corporate driven. We are not beholden to corporations who fund us that if we find that they are, as a corporation, acting against the best interest of the public, we can report on them. Or no, when you got corporate-driven media, some subjects are off limits. So we're going to move on, brothers and sisters. Thank you all once again. I want to give a few shout-outs. Shout out to our listeners that have tuned in. You all are ever faithful. Thank you so much. I see you all on the 10K Fearless dashboard. I see you, Sister Marissa. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. I hope those twins and the children are doing well. I thank you for supporting Brother William with the farm report that he does. I see my queen on. I see you, Sister Bree. Boy, she was on it Sunday. I was paying attention, sister. Of course, I see my sister Patricia, too, and others that are on. Have some online that I can't see the people that are online. Those that are listening on their desktops and other devices, thank you all so much for taking time out tonight to tune in to tonight's episode of the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. We're going to move. I'm going to start first with an article from the Final Call. And to me, this is going to, in some measure, demonstrate why it's important to have our own news sources. And the Final Call newspaper is one of those sources. And there are others out there. What's that? TYT. I just thought of him, the brother that does the reporting, and he brings to light facts about news reports that mainstreams tend to just kind of either overlook. And with all of the, the funding and the machinery and the state-of-the-art technology they have, you mean to tell me they didn't know these facts and couldn't unearth these facts? And essentially an internet news program can go and find these facts that they tend to always overlook or just don't want to report. So, but this report involves a young man in Texas. I'm sure y'all probably heard of it. The young brother's name is Carmelo Anthony. He's a high school student at a high school in Texas, and it involves a homicide where, unfortunately, at a track meet, he was, according to what's been reported, was accosted by a young man by the name of Metcalf. And he's a twin. And I think his first name, let me get his first name. I want to be respectful. And before I go any further, condolences to that family for the loss of their child. I mean, that's got to be a blow. We can't overlook that. And also, of course, our hearts and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Anthony family, because they have been set upon, being threatened and all kinds of things unjustly, because their son took what many believe is the appropriate action to simply do what every human being and really every living creature has the right to do. And that is to live, to survive, and to defend its well-being. Okay? So I want to bring up some of the articles from the mainstream. And the young man's name who lost his life, his name is Austin Metcalf. That's how they got it spelled. Metclaf. Austin Metcalf. And unfortunately, according to reports, they were at a track meet, and it is reported by mainstream that Anthony was under, not Anthony, but Carmelo Anthony was on a track tent, and rightfully so, had a right to be there at a track meet. And the Metcalf twins, according to what was reported, came and ordered him to leave, something along those lines. And according to students, they were going to forcibly make him leave by accosting him. The media just say, put their hands on. Nah. See, that's the kind of reporting that's slanted in that it minimizes what actually occurred, because it makes it look like, well, they put their hands on him and he killed them for it. No, as the information came out, it was a bit more, I don't want to use the wrong language here. It was much more than just putting hands on, because put your hands on me sounds quite benign and a little bit vague and ambiguous. Now, but when you say somebody punched them in the mouth and threw him to the ground, that's a bit more descriptive of what happened. So I think those news sources that use that language, put their hands on him, that's media negligence. But you were able to mine out the fact of what the young man said while he was in police custody. So you're cherry picking how you want to describe the facts that happened. But at any rate, at a track meet, these young men wanted to forcibly make this young brother leave. And he warned them, don't put your hands on me. Okay. Long story short, they did that. They jumped the young man, and he defended himself because he had a weapon on him. He stabbed the young man in the chest, unfortunately. And he got himself out of the area. When the police came, he didn't resist. He didn't lie about what happened. And in fact, according to news reports, when the officer keyed up on the radio and said they have the suspected perpetrator in custody, according to mainstream news sources, the young man said, "Not alleged, I did it." So he never denied or tried to evade the fact of what happened. So these kinds of things are very, very tragic. But as the facts and more information began to come out, it began to take the ominous turn that it always takes, particularly when a young black man is accused of a crime, particularly when it involves murder or something violent. When white males commit the same offenses, it's always to some degree sanitized with the kind of language that lends itself to either mental disorders or illness or disillusionment and a hard childhood that justifies sometimes, somehow it was what happened to them when they were younger and these kinds of things. The most prominent one that's in my mind is when Dylan Roof went into a church and mercilessly murdered 9 black people. Oh, he was taken into custody without incident. Thankfully, this young man was, Carmelo. He was taken to go get a burger. This man just murdered 9 people. And they took him to get him something to eat because he said he was hungry. Ain't that something? But when our young men are in situations, particularly where they have to defend themselves, they're never given the benefit of the doubt. Now, here's the problem with what's happening with the way this is being reported. In my humble view, it is because mainstream media is so slanted in how they report it. It serves to inflame the sensibilities of the dominant members of the society, i.e. the white community, whereby they feel as though, the news said he just stabbed him. So it has the effect of throwing kerosene on a fire. So now this family has been receiving death threats and all manner of things. They're having to hide now. Now, the judge, when the young man was taken into custody, went to jail, he didn't run. He did nothing to suggest that he would be a flight risk. What did they set his bond at? $1 million. Never been in trouble. Yes, they've lowered it now, down to $250,000. But why did they set it at $1 million in the first place? Whereas when what's the young man in Wisconsin? God, I had his name on the tip of my tongue. Somebody, hold on, let me go to the dashboard. I bet somebody type it in. Had the AR-15, calling himself going to defend. His mother drove him there. Killed people. Got off. Came from another state, according to what was reported. And injected himself into something that really did not concern him. And that's, it's when it's prayer time, man. So y'all excuse that. I keep that on because I want to try to stay steadfast. I don't know about nobody else, but hey, that's just your boy. But the point is, this slanted reporting serves to add fuel to attitudes that have manifested themselves that are like the ghosts of the 50s and 60s and 70s. Now, you see white America, they're emboldened, and you're seeing more and more videos, online where, these attitudes, these racist attitudes where they feel like they can talk to black people any kind of way. And many of them are finding black people ain't the same. You can't talk to us crazy and threaten us and put your hands on us. You're going to take a L. That means a loss. You're going to get your butt whipped. There's a sister in Walgreens shopping and got into it with one of the workers there, Caucasian woman. And this Caucasian woman felt like she just pushed this sister down. She pushed this woman into one of the shelves that had items on it for purchase. Sister fell down and she took her time getting up and she kicked her slippers off and walked over and found that woman and put some knots on her head. And then told her, you got what you asked for. But I'm not justifying and I don't condone that, but black folks are not going to let you just put their hands on us nowadays. That's over with, partner. That it just don't work like that no more. But suffice it to say, this family, and let me go to the Final Call newspaper. I want to share some of the excerpts. There it is. And let me lean in here because my eyes, man, they're betraying me nowadays. Y'all forgive me. But the article begins, it's by our national correspondent, Sister Charlene Muhammad, who always does a wonderful job in her reporting. The family of Carmelo Anthony, a 17-year-old black honor student accused of the fatal stabbing of another teen, held a news conference on April the 17th to talk about their son and to refute some of the misinformation, disinformation, and lies that have been circulating about the case in the media and online. In the wake of this tragic incident, they're saying, this is the news conference, this is the mother talking. She said, quote, in the wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think, what happened between Carmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, she says, has been overwhelming. This is the mother. Her name is Kayla Hayes. She's the mother of the young man accused. Now, the lies and their amplification put her family in danger. Now, listen at that. The lies and their amplification. Well, who amplified the lies? Online and media outlets. They didn't vet it first to see if it was true, as they alleged that they were spending money and living lavishly off of the GoFundMe account. And I'm glad to see that a good number of good, fair-minded people came together to help this family financially through this. because they're going to have a healthy legal cost defending their child. Now, the sister said our address, her husband's previous employer's address, has been put on all social media platforms. Her husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid of what may happen to his family. And his mental health is deteriorating day by day, according to the wife. We have endured death threats. And the 13-year-old daughter is even afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her. Now, the point I want to make in bringing this story up is not to go into how necessarily or in depth as to how the media is slanting and America's whites in America and their response. That's old news. The thing I want to point out is, why do we keep expecting any different? And why are we responding the same way? Almost. Because, and I say almost because many people have rallied behind this family and is making sure that they are financially sound. And the National Action Network, and what's the brother's name who, let me get his name real quick. I'll find it in a second. But they are helping this family to endure the slings and arrows. And see, that reeks of the old lynch mob mindset. You know, you put the family's address and all of that stuff. A young juvenile boy, you find out that he gets in a fight, he's attacked. And there are some other facts that came out, and he defends himself, and tragically, one of the young men gets killed. But you tend to leave out the fact that many have pointed out the fact that these young men were known bullies. Now, that doesn't mean that they deserve, or the young man deserved what happened. But it is certainly an element that is at least partly the cause of the effect that we saw. And it's just unfortunate. But the point I'm making once again is, brothers and sisters, it's on us now, because I'm segueing into the fact that we have to take responsibility, not just only to make our communities safe and decent places to live. We have to take responsibility for the narrative of our lives here in America. We have to tell our own stories. We have to fund our own causes. As our sister Lynchelle, in her health segment, we have to take responsibility for our own well-being health-wise. As Brother William reported, we have to take the reins of feeding ourselves, because it's clear, it's very, very clear, at least it should be by now, that they're going to continue to poison the American people in the name of profit with preservatives and additives to make the food look good and last long on the shelf, but to the detriment of the health and well-being of the consumer, especially the black community consumer, because in our community, they put the worst food. And they don't care anything about us. And the sad part is we don't care enough about ourselves to unite amongst ourselves and take up and shoulder the responsibility for making sure that the food we consume comes from good, healthy sources. And likewise with these news articles that are slanted in their reporting. We can't be mad at them. At this point, angry with us because we refuse to do what we all know we need to do. We all know that this is what we need to do. We all talk about we need to come together. We need to unite. We need to do this. Need to do that. But where is the will to do it? What is it that's stopping us? And we're going to get into that, talking about it's on us now. Because I don't blame, how can I say this? I'll say it like this. You can't be mad at something acting out its nature or acting out its mind and heart or its attitude. Racist people don't surprise me. They just don't. It's kind of like, you know, if you've seen a snake before, you know, some people are just scared of snakes. But if you know the snake is poisonous, it's going to bite you, you don't invite it into your area or into your space. You look, leave that over there and I'm going to stay over here and we're going to be cool. You know, if you don't come over here messing with me, I won't take this garden hoe and chop your head off with it. So I don't understand why we're so surprised and we keep expressing disgust over these kinds of things that continually heave into I shouldn't say heave into the national spotlight because they weren't really covering it. It's just a byline in mainstream media reporting. So kudos to all of those brothers and sisters who have news outlets that make this front page news, that put this in the mind and heart on a national level to those communities that need to know that this is the kind of thing that's going on. You get this young man a $1 million bond. If he deserved a $1 million bond, why did it get lowered so drastically? Cut in half to $250,000 bond. No, I'm sorry. Cut not in half. Cut 3/4 of it was cut down to $250,000. So it was $750,000 too high. To me, that's what they're conceding. The young man's bond was $750,000 above what it should have been. Now look at the conditions. He has bond conditions. You listen at these bond conditions they put on this young man. The article says Judge Angela Tucker of the 199th District Court reduced his bail from $1 million to $250,000 and placed the teen under house arrest with the following terms. These are the terms of his house arrest. Court approval, is required for Carmelo to leave his house. He must be supervised by a parent or designated adult at all times, and he must check with the judge's bailiff every Friday morning. In addition, Carmelo is barred from using social media or contacting the Metcalf family in any way. See, there's another subtle slant, if you would ask me. Because to me, that last little barred from using social media or contacting the Metcalf family in any way. Why would he even want to? That's kind of odd. Why would he want to contact them? They're the one getting death threats. I don't think they're threatening that family. At least it hasn't been reported that they are. So, brothers and sisters, I'm simply saying that it is high time that we accept the fact that all of the things we complain about, that mess is on us now. Every bit of it. From the rooter to the tutor, because it stinks like a pig in our community. In our communities, many of them are almost like slop troughs. The decay, the blight, the abandoned houses, and all of these kinds of things. And I want to thank, I just got to say this. Out of the candidates that are running for mayor in Holly Springs, I only hear one voice speaking to the substantive issues of improving the quality of life and the potential life outcomes, beginning with the children of Holly Springs. I've only heard one candidate. I'm not going, because I don't want to be biased. Good luck to all of them. Because in truth, that's the solution to our problems. You know, it doesn't begin with economics. It don't begin with politics, money, or any of those things. We have to begin by turning away from our wicked ways. Because if we get all of these resources with the state of mind that we're in, we'll make a mess of things. And I can tell you, if you look in most of the black cities and towns that are run by black leadership, not very much changes. I mean, you got a predominantly black city council or aldermen and county supervisory board, predominantly black. You got a black mayor, black. But guess what? Very little changes. So to be at the helm of power with the same mindset that we have does us no good. So, but we're at the top of the hour, and of course, always at the top of the hour. It's 7:56, and at the top of the hour, we're going to take a break, and we're going to segue to the next portion of our program where we're going to be talking about literally, it's on us now. And I got some information I want to share with you, some guidance from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, certainly from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, things that I want to put on our minds, brothers and sisters, that hopefully at some point we will respond better. We are responding, and I got to admit now, you know, black people are paying more attention. We're moving kind of slow, but we are moving. So there is hope. There is signs of life. There is a light that's in our communities where people are starting to clamor for change and are starting to move towards the liberation struggle plow, if you will, and put their hands and shoulders to it and help move things forward. So brothers and sisters, give us a few minutes. We're going to take another break, and we'll be right back after these commercial announcements.
Shake's famous seasonings, flavors for every occasion. Want to add a touch of authentic flavor to any dish? Searching for a unique range of seasonings that always put great taste on the menu? Welcome to Shake's Famous Seasonings. Whether you're a professional chef, passionate home cook, or a complete beginner in the kitchen, taste and flavor should always be on the menu. It's why Master Chef Rashid Muhammad has combined more than 30 years in the kitchen with a passion for mouth-watering flavors to create a range of seasonings unlike any other. Always gluten-free, so you can enjoy great taste exactly how nature intended. Versatile flavors that work with fresh fish, chicken, or vegetables from the very first bite. Authentic cooking experience that adds something special to any occasion. Versatile seasonings that are perfect for baking, frying, grilling, and plenty of tasting. Ready for real, authentic flavor? When it's time to see just how delicious seasoned foods can be, why wait? With the click of a button, you can have 30 years of passion for food sent direct to your door. Just what you need to add flavors to every occasion and create meals that you'll always want to eat twice.
Place your order at sfseasonings.com. That's sfseasonings.com.
Taste the difference. Taste Supreme. Enjoy our 100% natural Supreme Spring Water with natural calcium and magnesium, but zero fluoride and zero chloride. Our bottles are BPA free. Order yours today. Call us at 800-573-8033. That's 800-573-8033. Or visit us online at www.supremespringwater.com. Live supreme. Be supreme. Drink supreme. Supreme Spring Water, 801 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314.
Worldwide. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
What's your source for truth in news reports?
Justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Where do you turn for non-corporate driven news that's fair and balanced?
No shoot. No shoot.
Subscribe to the Final Call News, your #1 free and independent news source that delivers hard-hitting national and international news coverage of today's political, economic, and social issues. To subscribe to local home delivery, call us at area code 662-252-8999. That's 662-252-8999. Visit our website at www.finalcall.com.
The Urban Indulgence Bath and Body Boutique. At Urban Indulgence, we pride ourselves on offering quality, effective skincare. Handcrafted with plant-based, skin-loving ingredients, our soaps and body butters will give you luxurious lather and ultimate moisture. Experience the Urban Indulgence at 3314 Poplar Avenue in Memphis, 3 blocks west of Poplar Plaza, or shop with us online at theurbanindulgence.com. theurbanindulgence.com.
America can change, but attitudes change slowly. There's something that we, as black people, must do to affect that kind of change. But if our people are jobless and in gangs and are the #1 killers of themselves, then how can anyone looking at that picture see us as their equal? So there's an awful lot of work for black leaders, black preachers, black teachers, black organizations to do to lift our people up out of the quagmire that they are in. And that is not on Barack Obama. He has the cross of America to bear, but the raising of our people is still our job to do.
Man, you can tell by the news, we gon' always lose. It's white people's fault. Nah, better yet, Jews. I was a confused and abused child. Mama made my views foul. Damn, Obama, what excuses I'ma use now? My pops wasn't there. Nah, I can't use that. Now they can trace my dirt all the way back to where I choose at. Who's that? Peeking in my window, bro. Damn, the whole wide world, I can't pretend no more that I'm just a lost sheep who don't give a 4-letter. Now the cost deep, I gotta reap what I sow because I know better. Can't never put that genie back in the bottle, cause now we got a real life black family role model sitting in that house that slavery built. Shit might've gave y'all hope, but it gave me guilt. And I bet you a black neighborhood thug feel the same thing. They pulling the plug on the blame game. It's on
we
us
must
now.
accept responsibility to build our community. We don't have a community right now. And so we must build a community and get away from calling where we live the hood or the ghetto and save our youth from self-destruction.
Yes, they're pulling the plug on the blame game. And as you heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say, black leaders, black politicians, black preachers and teachers, we have an awful lot of work to do. And we need to get away from calling where we live the hood, because words matter, and the ghetto, So just like we need to get away from calling each other the N-word, somehow we feel as though there's something powerful about the word. I heard one brother say, well, that's our word now. No, I don't want that word. The slave master coined that phrase to describe the mental state that he had put us in. He had killed us. That's what Negro means. It means dead. And the slang expression of it is, as we say, the N-word. I'm not going to say it because we need to get a divorce from certain words and language. But, sometimes, brothers and sisters, we so smart, and we think that we're doing that which can be considered intelligent or, nah, there is absolutely no power whatsoever in the word Nigger. None. And I wouldn't want to possess a word that my enemy made to describe what he did to us. That's just my view, of course. But we want to get into, and shout out to my brother John Barnett. He's always on it. He's a national activist. Brother is texting me, and he's appreciating the program. Thank you, Brother Barnett, Brother John, man. You're always on it. You're always on it, man. Thank you for your support and for your encouragement. But brothers and sisters, we want to segue to the second portion of tonight's program for the last 30 minutes. We want to talk about, well, it's on us. We know it needs to be done. We know what we should do. We really do. Because we know better now. I have a brother who lives in West Memphis. He tells me all the time, brother, they know better. And he's absolutely right. We do know better. But see, God gives people who are errant something called a grace period that don't last forever. People are given time to comply to what God requires and what time and circumstances require. As the old saying goes, time dictates agenda. Yeah. And it's high time that we as black people stop sitting around complaining and looking to others and benevolent politicians and other folk to fix a problem that we've been begging to be fixed for over 470 years. When we have now the power, the resources, and all that's needed, the knowledge, the wisdom of how to solve the problem ourselves. The thing that's missing is the will. We need to build our will to do it. And that's why we say in the Nation of Islam that self-improvement is the basis for community development, not a big economic fund. Because if you have a big economic fund and you have people that have not engaged in a process of self-improvement and building moral character and calibrating our moral compass, then you'll always have thieves and cutthroats at the helm who will steal from the coffers of what we raise for economic development of our communities. So the development of the community has to begin with the development of the people, because you can build all of the beautiful stuff you want and pour all the money you want into it, and developing the community and the land and the buildings. But the undeveloped people, the uncultivated people, will ultimately destroy the beautiful town and buildings that are built. And that's what we see. So it has to begin with self-improvement. Let me go to some things that I think need to be highlighted. I want to begin with 3 things that hinder us. And you are entitled, feel free, brothers and sisters, if you want to call in, if you want to type in. I see some people are typing in. Let me make sure I hadn't missed anything. Just liking the show. Thank you all for tuning in. I see you on there. I see my sister-in-law tuned in. Sister Addie, what's going on, girl? How you doing? Hope everything is okay with you. But there are 3 things, and we talked about this in Holly Springs, Mississippi this past Sunday. But I want to talk about it or use some of what we talked about in the context of tonight's program subject. It's on us now. The 3 things that keep us stifled. And number 1 is fear. It's just fear. And the second one is distrust. And the third one is envy. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as well as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, had quite a bit to say about these three words. And I'm going to just point to some of it. And I want you to just listen to the wisdom of these three men because, well, why they got always bring up Elijah? Well, because the conscious community bears witness that it was their brush with that little man's teaching from Sandersville, Georgia, that stirred them to consciousness. You know, and unfortunately, some of us are now an open contestant and critic of the body of wisdom and the men that awaken them from their stupor or slumber of self-ignorance, okay? But those three things, and it's interesting, I'm reminded, I just thought about this, those are the three things that William Lynch, those that are familiar with the Willie Lynch letter and his formula for controlling slaves, those were the three ingredients that he said he used for control purposes: fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. He either frightened us, made us distrustful of one another, or fanned the flames of envy by rewarding one Negro in the presence of the others. You know, and today we call it hating. See, you're just a hater. Okay. But those are the three things. And I want you to listen. What did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say about? I want you to listen to something he wrote in his book entitled The Fall of America on page 4. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes, quote, "Our leaders, or so-called leaders, are choked by fear. Such a leader is not worthy of the salt that leavens his bread. This fear is the root of their failure to tell you the truth. Now this truth must come out. You have misunderstood the Bible." So now he's talking about leaders in general, okay? Then he goes to scripture or the Bible. Because all nations, if you look at it, their foundation is scripture. They are. The scholars and the early presidents of this nation were heavily influenced by scripture. They may not have called themselves a Christian. Some of them did. But they were heavily influenced by the sacred texts, Bible. And it is a well-documented fact that scripture was used to control black people. We were indoctrinated a certain way. Not that that's what the Bible meant or taught, but there were those who took the words from the pages and twisted them for their own political, economic, and social agendas to the detriment of the black slave. Those are historical facts that cannot be refuted. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says this about fear. He says, fear restricts. Guilt restricts. Fear presupposes the absence of knowledge of what we fear. Guilt comes as a result of our knowledge of our violations of a standard of behavior. So that's just a couple of caveats from these two great men about fear, because that's at the root of why en masse we can't move. So it's like God is bringing a group of fearless people to trouble us. Notice how fearless young people are. They bold. Well, if fear is the root, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, of leadership's failure to tell the truth, then the number one or primary ingredient for the truth teller has to be fearlessness. Can't be afraid to tell the truth. Like recently, some people that are kind of upset with me in Holly Springs and Marshall County. I don't care. And I think the reason they're talking, and name calling and using slinging mud. When a person doesn't have truth on their side to refute facts and other truth, they resort to baby language. They start name calling and, they'll call you a hater. But Mississippi recently has legalized marijuana. And now they got these smoke shops set up in Marshall County and Red Banks and Potts Camp and New Albany and all over Mississippi. And they're conspicuously placed in predominantly black communities, all of these tobacco products, but they're selling marijuana now right over the counter. I went in one store and the gentleman told me, I said, I need my medical card. He said, oh, no, you can buy. I said, well, last I checked, I thought they said you had to have certain credentials to purchase. Of course, I didn't make a purchase. I just wanted to go in and see. Was what I'm looking at real? Saw 3 glass jars of marijuana right there for sale, right there on Memphis Street, a rock's throw in the shadow of our mosque or our study group building, within a mile or within a quarter mile of City Hall, within a half mile of Rust College, within a half mile of Holly Springs High School, within a quarter mile of the Ida B. Wells Museum, right there in the heart of the black community. Yeah. And they're selling also kratom. You should go and look it up in the effects of smoking it. It's banned in Alabama. No, hold on. It's banned in, I can't remember the 2 states that it's banned in. And a 3rd state is looking at legislation to ban it. But you have people that make comments like, well, people have the right to do what they want to do. Yeah, they do. Well, if you feel so strongly about that, why not set it up in your community? Why is it always almost exclusively the black community where this happens? But see, that's on us. That's on us. We let that happen. Because just like water and electricity, disingenuous people who have ulterior motives, they seek the path of least resistance. And the most vulnerable community in America is the quote unquote African American community. So people from all over the world can come and set up shop and sell us just about anything. That's, for the most part, to the detriment of the community, enrich themselves, go and beautify their communities, live sumptuous lives, put their children through school, enjoy a high quality of life, all at the expense of our community. But you know what? That's on us now. All of it is on us. Because it begs the question, because Holly Springs, it's a predominantly black governed city. From the county supervisors to the alderman, and the mayor is a black person, which may very well change soon. So who was not watchful enough whereby clearly there was not enough foreknowledge? Because the people in the community said to me, but I didn't know. We try to be out in the community. The barbershops is the black man's country club. So you want to know what's going on? There's about 3 or 4 barbershops I drop in on. Oh, yeah? You mean right there? Yeah. They didn't know. So you mean to tell me none of our representation saw fit to hold some kind of community meeting to alert us that our children are going to be walking by a smoke shop that sells marijuana and kratom? Kratom. Go look it up. And its effects of smoking. And interestingly enough, most of the people who protested, facts that I cited in my post, I took to social media just to alert the people and ask them, what did they think about it? What do you think about this being in the heart of the black community, selling weed? I just wanted to know. Because, of course, clearly we have a problem with the dope man selling it. Matter of fact, black men are still locked up all over the country for selling weed. But now I don't see black men making a whole lot of money off of it now that it's being legalized in certain areas. Oh, yeah. And I mean, the establishment is laid out. Matter of fact, I'm going to dedicate an entire program to that in the coming episodes. So, and I'm going to invite somebody on that can give you some real insight on it. But just keep your ear tuned, okay? Because I've already established a line of communication with that person. But let's get back to what's stopping us from accepting what should be on us now. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes in his book, Message to the Black Man in America, about fear. He says on page 5, he said, the devils reared the poor so-called Negroes for 400 years and put fear in them when they were babies. They, the devils, kept them apart from their own kind coming in from abroad, so as to deprive them of any knowledge other than what he, the devils, has taught them. Oh, man, that's harsh. It's the truth. In fact, he also pointed to the fact that one of the senators of Virginia, of the Virginia House of Delegates, it was right in the wake. He said it in 1832, this Mr. Henry Berry. And if you look at that date, 1832, just a year before in 1831 was the Nat Turner Uprising. You know, Nat Turner knew how to read. They messed around and taught him. And the rest was history, those that know Nat Turner. But they decided, as Senator Henry Berry said, and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad quotes him in Message to the Black Man in America, when Senator Henry Berry said, we have as far as possible cut off all avenues whereby light may enter the mind of the slave. Then he said, if we could only extinguish their capacity to see the light, their work would be complete, and they, meaning us, would be on the level of the beast of the field, and they should be saved, meaning them. So yes, they wanted to control our language, control the information, and the same thing happens today. Any information that comes to us that they don't agree with, just like the post I just put up, you hear a hue and a cry from them. Even if the information is true, you hear a hue and a cry. And because they don't have a truth to refute it, they resort to name calling. Racist. Oh, I'm racist because I'm concerned with the merchants of death, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan would call them. The merchants of death dumping filth daily in our communities for us to put into our bodies. And we're supposed to just shut up and be quiet. Okay, nah. Them days over, partner. Excuse my slang expression. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes on page 99 about fear. He says, it is natural for one to fear that which he has no knowledge, or that of which he has no knowledge. He continues, however, when truth and knowledge are made clear to you, you have no cloak for your fear. Your mixing up truth with falsehood is only because you fear your enemy, the devils. He says, Allah God doesn't care for us when our fear is greater for our enemies than for him. Allah says, I and I alone should you fear. And that's what they do not like about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that's why, brother and sister, they don't like us listening to them. Them meaning the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Master Fard Muhammad. Because it removes the fear, distrust, and envy that they bred in us. And I can tell you, man, that third one, envy, ooh, that one is a monster. It is 8:24. And I really hadn't gotten into the substance of what I wanted to share with us about what controls us. But I want to read before my time is up. It's 8:25. I got about 3 minutes to read this, and I want to share it. One of the tactics that they used was they criminalized us. Another tactic that they still use today, that they used in years gone by, was lynching. There's one man named Mr. Professor Clarence Casson. And he said about lynching, he called it lynching on general principle. You ever wonder why every now and then you read of a black man just getting killed for no reason down in the Delta in Mississippi or Alabama or Georgia, somewhere in the deep, deep Delta? And then they immediately, before the sun sets, on the day they find the body, they say, well, it was a suicide. Then we find out that there were plenty of signs of foul play. And this don't just happen in the Deep South. It happens in the Michigan areas and other places. But Professor Casson said these words about lynching in general. He said, this conviction that the black man must now and then be intimidated in order to keep him from forgetting the bounds which Southern traditions have set for him is firmly rooted in the consciousness of many Southern people. So unquestioned is this philosophy that at times lynchings are planned and carried out through not under the fierce compulsion of mob hysteria, but by men who have calmly resigned themselves to the performance of a painful duty, which according to their lights is necessary for the good of the society, end quote. So this man, he said, this is a Caucasian, he said lynching just done on GP just to keep the social order, just to keep the niggers in line, to keep us afraid. But we got a generation, man, that's just fearless. And men and women that have been being made fearless. You know, hence the name of this podcast, 10K Fearless Tri-State. We gonna tell it, brother and sister, whether they like it or not. Question is, do we have the intestinal fortitude to not just listen, but to act on the truth that we know that is in the best interest of us all, even including them, whether they realize it or not? I know that's a kick in the head. But I part with this from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on that third thing he uses to control us, not the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, but Mr. Lynch, which was envy. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan wrote this in the Final Call, January 25th of 1995. He said, envy is the mother of murder. He said, of all the characteristics of human beings that are bad, envy is the worst. It is the most unredeeming and wicked of the negative characteristics of the human being. Envy has at its root a gross and inordinate self-concept, either on the side of gross inferiority or gross arrogance. He says envy is what keeps black leaders from uniting and coming to a common table of brotherhood, seeking that which is in the best interest of our people in our quest for true freedom, justice, and equality. He concludes, those who develop the characteristic of humility will never have a problem with their self-concept and will never be victimized by this evil characteristic of envy. Now, that's just a snippet. He said a lot more about it. And I'll read this part too. I think this is this part that he said on this thing about envy. He said, a proper self-concept is vitally necessary to have a balanced and peaceful mind with contentment. However, when one has low self-esteem, this self-concept breeds friction and trouble. For example, if someone comes along doing that which we believe we have the only one, that we believe we are the only ones qualified to do, our self-concept is threatened. This produces envy. Or if someone believes that he or she is the best at doing a particular thing and someone comes along doing it better, our self-confidence is threatened, producing envy. Or if someone sees another person with a gift or talent that gives that person honor, respect, and wealth, which is what each of us as human beings may want in life, our self-concept being threatened, we develop a covetous desire for the ends that the talent brings out of envy. And if we fail at that talent or at that gift or talent, our self-concept is further threatened, turning envy into murder. Envy makes its possessor a devil. For the possessor of envy becomes an active opponent, adversary, or enemy of the person who is envied, generally without a just cause. Now look at the beefs in the hip-hop community and the deaths that we've seen of rising young men and women. Think of them. You know the names, locally and nationally. And when you look at the root of the beefs, particularly the ones that resulted in the loss of life, you'll find at the root of it, envy. So brothers and sisters, we want to thank you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast. And we're going to sign off tonight. I was going to give you a cultural segment, but things took a little bit longer than I thought they would take. But we're going to go ahead and close. And I always want to leave us with words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because he says to us, quote, "No one can attempt to help our people do anything productive and constructive without feeling personal hurt, pain, loss, being evil spoken of, falsely accused, sometimes beaten, sent to prison, or even put to death. This is the path of Jesus. This is the path of Muhammad, and this is the path of every sincere person who wants to see his or his people delivered from our present condition," end quote. Very, very powerful quote and very, very true. Dear brothers and sisters, once again, lastly, thank you all for tuning in, and we leave you as we came before you with the greeting words of peace, always remembering that self-improvement is the basis for community development. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you.
Gotta make a move and take control. Have something we can call our own. So shine your light, help the people see that now is the time for us to be free. And if you waiting on the pie in the sky, you better wake up fast. They told you a lie, cause big fields are waiting the wide awake man. Elijah's got the master.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. Injustice we've had enough. All of our divisions we're breaking up. Destiny has been calling us. The spirit of the Most High is guiding us.
See, the time is now. What you waiting on? Quit shooting your brothers. Put your gun down. Come on. They got a cage waiting for you if you keep that up. Early graves coming to you. From that, can't raise you up. Now, Sister Ida B and Fannie Lou, check them out and you'll know what to do. But if you really want your enemy to be alarmed, read the final call. Follow Farrakhan.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. In Mississippi, Mississippi. 10,000 fearless on the